Two ex-cons came in, stole this soldier's home, and refused to leave. Police said there was nothing they could do. A couple of days later, the ex-cons got some unexpected visitors. A soldier from Newport Richey, Florida, said that squatters took over his house while he was stationed in Hawaii for 2 years, and when it came time to move back into his home with his wife, the squatters refused to leave, according to the Blaze. Army specialist Michael Sharkey said that he and his wife hadn't lived in their Florida home in the 2 years that he had been stationed in Hawaii. Upon learning that they could go back to Florida, though, the couple was shocked to discover that two ex-cons had broken into their residence, changed the locks, and were refusing to leave. To make matters worse, Sharkey was told that legally, there was nothing he could do to force the squatters out. Police told Sharkey that they could do nothing about the couple, later identified as Julio Ortiz and Fatima Cardosa, since they had established residency during the time period that Sharkey was in Hawaii, so the matter would have to be settled in a civil court. Ortiz claimed that he made a verbal agreement with Sharkey's friend, who was overseeing the Florida home while the soldier and his wife were out of state. The verbal agreement stipulated that Ortiz and Cardosa could live at the property for free as long as they took care of the necessary repairs on the home. However, both Sharkey and his friend say that those claims are lies. The people that are in this house cannot produce any documentation, lease, agreement, anything that they belong in that house, said Sharkey. They are criminals. I am serving my country and they have more rights to my home than I do, he told WFLA. With the police refusing to help the soldier, Sharkey believed he was SOL. Until a group of local bikers took matters into their own hands. The fact that a soldier and his wife had been displaced from their home by a couple of low-life squatters didn't sit right with the bikers, so they devised the perfect plan. Julio Ortiz has spent a combined 12 years in prison in New Jersey for robbery, carjacking, and selling drugs on school property. Once word got out that he had taken over Sharkey's house, a group of military veteran bikers announced that they would be paying a visit to the home to peacefully make the squatters uncomfortable. This was all it took for Ortiz and his girlfriend to pack up their belongings and leave the home for good. Once they heard the bikers were coming, they ran scared with their tails between their legs, like a couple of cowards. Nothing is more infuriating than a story about a soldier getting the shaft when he's been out risking his life for our country. They deserve nothing but the best. Army specialist Michael Sharkey spent 2 years away from home protecting our freedoms and liberties just so a couple of criminal freeloaders could squat in his home. Luckily, these no-nonsense bikers took it upon themselves to make matters right. Ortiz and Cardosa thought they had it made. They had been living rent-free in Sharkey's home for months, enjoying the comforts of a house they neither owned nor legally occupied. But things were about to change. The community of Newport Richey, having heard of the injustice, rallied behind the soldier. What Ortiz and Cardosa didn't realize was that Sharkey's status as a soldier held significant weight with a certain group of people, the local bikers. These weren't just any bikers. They were veterans themselves, men who had served their country and had a deep respect for their fellow soldiers. Upon learning what had happened to Sharkey, the bikers didn't hesitate to spring into action. They made it clear that Ortiz and Cardosa had two choices: vacate the property voluntarily or face an uncomfortable confrontation. The bikers made their intentions known through the local media and social networks, and it didn't take long for the squatters to get wind of what was coming their way. The bikers weren't looking to resort to violence. They simply wanted to make it clear that injustice wouldn't be tolerated. With their strong presence and united front, the bikers put the pressure on Ortiz and Cardosa. Fearful of what a visit from this group could entail, the squatters knew their time was up. They had underestimated the power of a tight-knit community standing behind one of their own. What made the situation even more outrageous was the fact that Ortiz had tried to manipulate the law to his advantage. While claiming he had a verbal agreement with Sharkey's friend, Ortiz failed to provide any proof. And yet, he had the audacity to dig his heels in and assert his right to stay in the home. For Sharkey and his wife, this entire ordeal felt surreal. How could someone break into their home and claim residency, all while they were halfway across the world serving their country? When Ortiz and Cardosa learned of the bikers' impending visit, their bravado quickly faded. The idea of a standoff with a group of veterans who weren't going to back down was too much for them to handle. Rather than waiting for the confrontation, the pair hastily packed up their belongings and abandoned the home. In a matter of hours, they were gone, leaving behind a mess of repairs and damages for Sharkey and his wife to deal with. Once the squatters were out, Sharkey was finally able to return to his rightful home. The moment he walked through the front door, however, was bittersweet. The house was in disrepair, with broken fixtures and signs of neglect throughout. It was clear that Ortiz and Cardosa had not only freeloaded, but also failed to uphold their end of the alleged agreement to maintain the property. Still, the sense of relief was overwhelming. For the first time in months, Sharkey and his wife could start rebuilding their life. The bikers, true to their word, ensured the eviction was peaceful. They showed up at the home after the squatters had fled, offering Sharkey and his wife their support. The sight of the veterans on motorcycles arriving as a united front was symbolic, a reminder that they had each other's backs, no matter the circumstances. News of the bikers' involvement spread quickly. Social media lit up with praise for the group, with people from all over the country applauding their efforts. It wasn't just about reclaiming a home, it was about standing up for what was right. Sharkey and his wife were deeply moved by the outpouring of support from both the bikers and the community at large. Despite the legal obstacles they faced, the couple could now focus on moving forward. Sharkey knew that the road to restoring his home would be long and costly. But the peace of mind that came with reclaiming what was rightfully his made it all worthwhile. As for Ortiz and Cardosa, they disappeared from the area, leaving their criminal past behind, but not their tarnished reputation. The bikers didn't consider themselves heroes. For them, it was a matter of principle. A soldier had been wronged, and they weren't going to let it stand. Their actions spoke louder than words, proving that even in a world filled with legal loopholes and bureaucratic red tape, justice could still prevail if people were willing to stand up for it. The Sharkeys learned an invaluable lesson during this ordeal: never underestimated the power of community. What the legal system couldn't resolve, a group of determined citizens managed to fix in a matter of days. It was a testament to the strength of human decency and solidarity. Months later, as Sharkey and his wife settled back into their home, they remained in close contact with the bikers. They often reflected on how a seemingly hopeless situation had turned around thanks to the kindness and bravery of complete strangers. The experience left a lasting impact on them, reinforcing their belief in the goodness of others. In the end, Sharkey's story wasn't just about a house. It was about standing up to injustice, the strength of community, and the unexpected heroes who stepped in to help when the system failed. The bikers' intervention not only restored Sharkey's home, but also his faith in the idea that sometimes doing the right thing means taking matters into your own hands. Though the ordeal was over, Sharkey and his wife couldn't shake the emotions that lingered from the experience. For 2 years, they had imagined returning to their peaceful Florida home, only to have it turn into a battleground for their rights. What stuck with them most, however, was not the hardship, but the outpouring of kindness from people who had never met them. The bikers, their neighbors, and even strangers who reached out online all played a part in helping them reclaim what was theirs. As they began the process of restoring their home, Sharkey found himself reflecting on his time in the military. The principles of duty, honor, and loyalty that he had lived by in the Army had found a parallel in the actions of the bikers. These men, many of whom had served in the military themselves, showed the same sense of camaraderie and determination that Sharkey had seen among his fellow soldiers. It was a reminder that those values transcended the battlefield and extended into everyday life. The media attention surrounding the story brought even more support their way. Local contractors offered to help with repairs, and community members volunteered their time to clean up the damage left by the squatters. It was a true testament to how people could come together in the face of injustice. What had started as a nightmare turned into a story of hope and resilience, fueled by the compassion of the community. As the months passed, Sharkey and his wife finally settled back into a sense of normalcy. The house that had once been a symbol of frustration and loss was slowly transformed back into a home, thanks to the support they had received. They began hosting gatherings with friends and neighbors, each visit serving as a reminder of the strength that comes from unity. The home, once taken over by strangers, now resonated with warmth and a renewed sense of belonging. For Sharkey, the experience left him with a deeper appreciation for the bonds that connect people, especially in times of need. He realized that while the legal system may have failed him, human decency had not. The biker veterans had stepped up when no one else could, proving that when people come together for a common cause, they can overcome even the most challenging circumstances. As Sharkey and his wife finally regained full control of their home, they knew they had been through an ordeal that could have broken them. Instead, they emerged stronger and more connected to their community than ever before. The experience taught them that when people stand up for one another, they can conquer even the most frustrating and unfair challenges. Their home, once stolen by deceit, now stood as a symbol of resilience, kindness, and the power of unity. They would never forget the bikers who helped them, the neighbors who stood by them, and the community that made sure justice was served. If this story inspired you, remember that we all have the power to stand up for what's right. Sometimes, even the smallest acts of kindness can make a world of difference.